In his book What is World Literature, David Demosh defines world literature as literary works that circulate beyond their culture of origin, either in translation or in their original language. Two concepts are particularly important for Demosh on the notion of world literature, namely circulation and translation. Demosh comments that world literature can be understood as a mode of circulation and of reading, suggesting that there is no single way of reading that can be appropriate to all texts, or even to any one text at all times. On translation, in How to Read World Literature, Demosh comments that read intelligently, an excellent translation can be seen as an expansive transformation of the original, a concrete manifestation of cultural exchange, and a new stage in a work's life as it moves from its first home out into the world. In From Cultural Turn to Translation Turn, a transnational journal, translation scholar Susan Bassnett comments on the relationship between literature, geography, and translation. In particular, she talks about how it is impossible to ignore the integral role of translation in all discursive fields. She writes, expanding research in what is termed world literature serves to highlight the significance of translation in literary transactions. Indeed, it could be argued that developments in world literature have been moving parallel to work in translation studies, and that's where we must turn today for the most innovative thinking about translation is to scholars who see themselves as comparatists, as post-colonialists, as world literature people. Another scholar who is also worth mentioning is Emily Apter. In her work Against World Literature on the Politics of Untranslatability, Apter proposes the notion of untranslatability as a deflationary gesture towards the expansionism and gargantuan scale of world literary endeavors. We shall further explore the tension between translatability and untranslatability through a close reading of literary texts in this course. This course will study literary texts from different places around the world, discussing how texts circulate from one place to another, exploring the tension and dynamics between translatability and untranslatability. For texts of Chinese literature, this course will study famous literary texts and how it was translated into English, and the relationship between Chinese literary texts and non-Chinese literary texts. For non-Chinese literary texts, this course will focus on texts that were not originally written in English. In other words, it studies texts outside the British and American culture, yet, as we need to be aware, we are reading and interpreting them in their English translations. The possible choices of texts of this course include the works of Rabelais, Dante, Boccaccio, and Cervantes. It includes the drama of Sophocles, Brecht, and Chekhov, and also the works of Dostoevsky, the works of Kafka, and the works of Lu Xun, Gogol, and Amy Césaire, among many others. In other words, you can get to appreciate the literary world from a more global perspective and examine the issue of translatability through studying how Chinese texts are translated into English and how texts circulate from one culture to another.